Hello, Whovians, and welcome to the third show. Now, today I have another, I say another because it is another wonderful interview, and this one will probably, more people will probably recognize either this person or the voice of the person. It's the one, the only Phil Fletcher.
Hello, Tom. Are you well? Hello, Whovians,
Um,
whoever you are.
and so, Phil, you are, as of right now, in my opinion, one of the most modern / famous puppeteers in the UK sphere at the moment.
I thank you, and I thank you, Sophia, as well, if you're watching.
Right. So to kick off this, we're gonna go way back in the past, not too far, not that far that we see Tutankhamun. But my question is, how did you get into puppetry?
Well, I was a little kid when I first started doing puppets. I started making them out of paper and sellotape and envelopes and any old rubbish you can find around the house when I was about 5 or 6 or whatever. And when I was 11, we got a sewing machine, and that's when I made my first puppet out of cloth. And I've got it here, actually. This is the first puppet I ever made, Josh.
Wow.
And that puppet is now 33 years old.
Time flies.
It does fly. So I made that when I was a little kid, and I started doing kids' birthday parties and what have you. For kids, actually, who weren't that much younger than I was doing the shows. And I first started earning money when I was 11 years old doing puppets. So I've been a sort of semi-pro for 33 years. And today, as we record this, Tom, I don't know when it goes out, but as we record this interview, today, 12 years ago today, was our first Ian and Hackerlinks went out on the telly.
Wow. Time has flown.
It literally has flown. We both started work at, Ian Sterling and I both started working at CBBC on the 18th of May, 2009. And we pre-recorded some stuff to go out the weekend after, and that is today.
Wow.
Sunday, whatever date it is today, 11:30 this morning, 12 years ago, our first ever TV stuff went out together.
Wow. I remember watching that. I was very small. I haven't grown much, but I was very small. Unfortunate for me not for growing. But what was
overrated growing? If you want to be a puppeteer, being too tall is a bit of a hindrance.
Yeah, but what actually inspired you to join this career?
I don't remember. I've done it since I was a little kid. I've no memory of not doing puppets, so I cannot remember. Now, what got me into telly was I used to do a bit of YouTube stuff. Yeah. And I used to do cabaret, and the BBC literally rang me up one day to come and audition to play Hacker. Yeah. And I literally got the job like that. I didn't apply for it. I didn't seek it out. I never sent any CVs off. I've never auditioned. I've never sought out an audition before. They've always come to me.
Wow. That's incredible.
It is, but it's not a great story. It's no struggle. It's not like it would be a rubbish book.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could make more money if you made it into a book, a very short book, but very...
It'd be more of a pamphlet, I should think, or a leaflet at best, because literally everything I've ever done has always just fallen into my lap with little to no effort from me.
Wow. Now, not only do you perform these wonderful foam creatures...
foam.
Yeah, they're not all creatures. Some of them are humans, which sort of freak me out sometimes because they might be taken over by puppets. But
they would eventually. Yeah.
But how did you learn to build the puppets?
Self-taught. When I first started, as I've said, there was no internet. There was no how to do this sort of videos. There was no research available. I never went to the library. I never looked at books. I just started cutting up stuff and seeing what worked. And that is more or less actually still what I do. I very rarely pre-design these characters, although in this case, Snodgrass, I did pre-design him. But normally, like with this fellow and most of the others, I just start cutting, sticking stuff on and seeing what I end up with.
Wow.
I don't really put that much thought into it. I think a lot of people procrastinate too much or overthink stuff. I just do whatever the hell I want, and it often works. I never lose sleep over it.
Yeah. But how long does it take you to build these wonderful creatures?
I can do one in a day if I get a day to myself, or if I've got the inspiration to do it. Sometimes nothing comes in your head. You can't think of anything, so you don't bother. But if I've got the idea, I can do it in a day.
Now, what was your favourite program growing up as a kid to inspire you to become an entertainer?
I was a big fan of Rod Hull and Emu, so I was a big fan of the Pink Windmill Show. He
Yeah.
was one of my biggest influences, actually. One of the most underrated puppeteers, in my opinion, Rod Hull.
Yeah.
I nearly said Ronnie Lee Drew then, but I was a big fan of Rainbow as well, and Zippy. In fact, Zippy is the character I've based Hacker's voice on.
Wow, that's I can sort of tell. I can see that now.
Well, now you know. Next time you watch it, or certainly if you watch the older stuff on YouTube or whatever, it's very much like that, George.
Wow, but with Rod Hull and Emu, which I'm also a big fan of. I quite liked how it, like, Rod had the freedom to randomly chuck himself into freezers in the middle of horizons.
His brilliance was his lack of fear. He was utterly fearless, and you really bought into Emu, I think. You really believed it was a separate entity because he performed it so well. Even though the puppet itself was knackered, it had holes in it. It was rubbish, really, wasn't it? It was knackered thing. But the fact that he gave everything to it, you believed in it. And when Emu threw him into that chest freezer, you believe Emu's just chucked him into that chest freezer because the man was so brilliant.
Yeah.
And it's not easy to throw yourself into things not knowing what's in it, because he wouldn't have cared. He just did it for the laugh. But anything he could have broke his neck.
Yeah, it would have really hurt. But yeah. But did you ever see the Emu show, like the sequel that his son did? Because I didn't think that worked as well.
It didn't work as well, and it was not down to him. It was just that nobody's as good as Rod Hull. It's as simple as that. You can do your best, but that man was brilliant. And the fact, actually, that he is never lauded or never even listed in puppeteer ranks, to me, shows how good he was, because you believe that thing was real.
Well, I sort of saw, I don't know if you've seen it, but I sort of saw a video on one of the Pink Windmill Kids YouTube channels where she now has a YouTube channel where she just randomly, every so often, just has a chat with Emu and then just says how a week's gone. Have you ever seen that?
I haven't, but I've been looking it up. Which Emu kid is it? Which Pink Windmill kid?
I think it's I don't know her name, but I think it's the woman that was in green.
Is it Katina or something?
I think it was.
Because I think if it's the right one I'm thinking of, she was Rod Hull's stepdaughter.
Well, was she?
Yeah. Wow. And years later, funnily enough, because I was a massive fan of Pink Windmill and Emu and all that, and I subsequently worked with one of the Pink Windmill kids, Joe Greco. Yeah. And I'm Joe to you. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Well, he's a puppeteer as well, and I worked with him on the Dark Crystal.
Wow. Well, we'll get on to the Dark Crystal a little bit later on, because I think that was a fantastic series. But what's your favourite film? I know that's like a really standard question, but because you're an avid DVD fan,
you can see the room I'm in, can't you?
Yeah.
I'm in the DVD room as we speak, and I can show you my favourite film of all time, and I've got it right here. It happens to be a puppet film, and it's Meet the Feebles.
Wow. Yeah.
It's my biggest influence. That is my most. I've nicked most of my act from this film. If you ever watch this, you should watch it. Yeah. There's a character in it called Dr. Quack, who's a duck, and I nicked his voice for this fella.
Yeah.
Many years ago. So I recommend anyone watching this, Meet the Feebles, directed by Peter Jackson.
Wow. Well, what I quite like about the room you're in, which we'll talk about a little bit, is that my room that I'm in now is so crammed with stuff. I can only fit, as you can see in my background, one line of DVDs, and it's all Doctor Who, because I love Doctor Who. And I had to use the whole nother room to be filled with DVDs and VHSs. Where did your DVD career begin?
I first started collecting DVDs in 1997. I went to HMV in the Trafford Centre, and they had a DVD section in HMV that was about the size of your one there.
Wow.
They only had about that many because they were brand new. And I said, what the hell are these? These videos are thin. So I went in there and I bought a DVD, and it was the Pet Shop Boys live in concert.
Wow.
And it was called Somewhere. I can't see it now, but that was the first one I bought, and I didn't have a machine then.
Yeah.
So I got my mate to get me a machine, and back then the DVD players were about 500 quid.
Wow.
Because you just couldn't get them. They were new, and it was massive and heavy, and it was a Samsung one, I think. But now you can get them for 15 quid, can't you?
Yeah, they're very cheap. But on the line of DVD, there's something that always baffled me ever since DVDs have become a thing, and ever since I was able to remember things. That how come like Hacker Time and anything hacker related have never been made it to a DVD?
Do you know? I don't know. I can only assume that it's BBC, and because it's not a production, it's in house. I don't know if they're allowed.
Mm.
It's never been discussed. In fact, it's never been mentioned. That I've no idea. I'd love to have Hacker Time on DVD.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got them all because I got them from work, but I've not got. They're not commercially available. Unlike this cup, which is available.
Ooh. And where can you buy the mug?
Redbubble. Just search Hacker Tea Dog. You'll see it on there.
Yeah.
It's unofficial, but
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah. And now, speaking of Hacker, do you own the rights to Hacker?
I don't. The BBC own him.
So do you have to ask the BBC to make the Hacker YouTube channel?
The Hacker YouTube channel is BBC ran.
Yeah.
And I just do work for it, and every time we do a VT, we decide where it's going to live, if it's going to go on YouTube or on the television or on Instagram or whatever. But I've got quite a lot of input into it. They're quite good. The BBC are brilliant with Hacker, and they let me do more or less whatever I want.
So how did Hacker actually start out? Because you didn't actually play Hacker once upon a time.
I didn't. It was originally performed by a man called Andy Heath, who again I've worked with subsequently on The Dark Crystal and other things. And he played Hacker in series 1 of Scoop. And back then Hacker didn't speak, he just growled and grunted. Now you may have seen that. I have never seen it, the series 1. But that had already gone out. It had been on telly before I got the job. So when they were looking for new presenters for CBBC, they already had the puppet of Hacker in a box. So they didn't have to design a new character. But because Hacker was didn't speak or anything in Scoop, they could easily recast him without it being a problem, really. So when I first started doing it, I did what Andy did and just growled and grunted for a while until it became a bit dull. And I just started adding words in, and then we ended up, and now he just talks like me now.
So how did you develop the voice? Because you had to like try and recreate Andy's voice first.
Yeah, to a degree, but he didn't do much in Scoop really. So and then we also played it that Hacker was playing a part in Scoop. That was always the storyline. That Hacker was an actor from Scoop, so it didn't really. I mean, he could have walked into CBBC and spoke like Noel Coward for all it mattered, because we could have said, well, in Scoop he was playing a part. So I didn't really have to copy it, but it was just this, get back out of my office, and all this garbage. Yeah. But it wouldn't have lasted if we continued to do that, because he would never got Hacker Time. You couldn't have had a host of a show who couldn't speak.
No. Well, I loved Hacker Time. Hacker Time was one of those things, was that it was one of the greatest shows. But why did it just randomly stop? Because it seemed like if you were going off a narrative, it didn't seem like it had a satisfying ending.
It didn't. I don't know why it didn't stop. It never got decommissioned. It never got cancelled. It just didn't get recommissioned. And then like bosses at the BBC changed. I just think they don't know what's happened. Or do you know what I mean? There's that many different changes of staff and things. I think people just don't know what they've got or what. So it just gets forgotten about. A lot of things just get forgotten about with no actual malice or intent, really. And because I'm already in CBBC, I think people just thought, well, he's on telly every day. What is it different to Hacker Time? I just think people just don't know. Yeah.
Well, what's quite good about the new era of like the internet now, we have YouTube. We managed. It's quite good that you managed to salvage Hacker Time for YouTube, but it's the issues around copyright and that. Do you feel like Hacker Time could get forgotten if like the BBC took down every YouTube video to do with Hacker Time?
Yes, it would get forgotten, I think, but as long as I remember it, I'm not that bothered.
Yeah,
I remember it fondly because I've got the DVDs of it.
Yeah. Now, what was it like working in Hacker Time? Because you had the like really hardest job of playing every character you could think of.
It was hard work, and I was in every scene. There wasn't any scenes where I wasn't in, even if I was done, because I played Hacker, but then I played Derek and Will mainly. But then I played loads of other one-off characters. And Neil Sterenberg, who built Hacker, he played Lolly and Herman. But generally, I was in every shot. Yeah. And there were like 10 or 11-hour days, and it was just me yapping on. It was knackering, and your back's knackered, and your shoulders knackered, and your arms knackered, and your voice is knackered.
Yeah.
But you've got your own show, so you can't complain too much.
Yeah, and
Good
I
to have your own telly show.
yeah, and it was really interesting. But I think that the BBC should rerun Hacker Time, and I don't know if anyone at the BBC would be watching this video. I
If
highly
you're
doubt
watching the BBC, rerun Hacker Time.
Yeah, because we want it and we can't get enough of it. And I feel like the more Hacker Time we get, the more chance the BBC will get more viewership from their older audience.
Win-win.
Yeah, like they're doing like they did with Eurovision, how they put on the 1974 Eurovision from Brighton on over the weekend.
Oh, did they do that just to get some of the older people in? Well, they occasionally do repeat Hacker Time. It does crop up sometimes at random times or in random countries, because I occasionally get the odd like repeat fee for it. So it does get shown occasionally here, there, and everywhere.
Mm.
It will be nice to show it again. It'd be nice to show it in the afternoon so I can link into it again, like we used to.
But
it might happen. You never know.
You never know. It's whatever the BBC are feeling that time. Now, with the change in children's entertainment, which you can see from way back in the 60s, with Sooty and Sweet being on the BBC to 2021, and the being like less likely. How do you feel that your job has changed since you started to where you are now, with all the changes of like the removing of desks, removing of bits and bobs, and making it more down with the kids as you was today,
as it were? Do you know what? In all seriousness, I don't think it's changed at all from my point of view. I'm happy for it to have no desks. As long as you bottom a frame, it's better when there's no desks.
Yeah.
You can run around more.
Yeah.
It's as if you're clearly hiding something, which you are. Sooty and Sweep are often behind desks because they're so tiny. I mean, they're only little. The puppets are really small, so it's harder for them to exist bottom of frame, because you're never convinced that how tall they are. With Hacker, because he's always the same height, you don't think, God, he must have 4 foot legs.
Yeah.
Sooty and Sweep are a bit different because they're so small, which I performed Sweep in the last series of Sooty and Sweep, and they still show that on ITVB. So I don't think, and they're still doing the same old gags in that they used to do in Harry Corbett's day. So I think people always like a pie in the face. Some things don't really change.
No. And I was going to move on to that next. So how did you get the job as Sweep? Because that must have been just randomly out the blue, because it's ITV and you were an avid BBC Klingon, as you will.
I still am a BBC Klingon. I'm mates with Richard Cadell.
Yeah.
I've known Richard for years, and he rang me up out the blue and said, right, I know you're not going to be available, but is there any chance you might be available to come and play Sweep? I said, yes, there is. I'll have 2 weeks off. So I took 2 weeks off CBBC, went down to Somerset and did 2 weeks of Sweep, which was a 6-part series.
Yeah.
And it was a bucket list gig for me, because I was a massive fan of Sweep, particularly in the Sooty show. So when you get the chance to play Sweep, you take it, don't you?
Yeah. What's good about that is that people can, if you've got Amazon, I don't know why you wouldn't have Amazon, but you can go and buy these Sooty and Sweep episodes on DVD.
That is on DVD. It's called the Sooty's Talent Show, that series that I did. The DVD is called Sooty's Talent Show, I think.
Do you know whether it's going to return for new episodes? Because it seems like they're just repeating the old episodes. They've been doing that since 2019.
Yeah, I think we shot ours in 2018, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes, there's always plans for future Sooty things, and Richard's always in touch about doing future things, but then finances get involved and things get put back. But I'm sure something will happen at some point in the future, yes.
Yeah. And you're not only a puppeteer, you're also, I'm gonna say this, you might not agree, but you're also a pop star with the comedy troupe Pound Shop Boys.
I'm sure I'm Cocker. Have I got a CD in here? I have as well.
Ooh, more promotion for you.
More promotion. This is the Pound Shop Boys' current album, Nostalgia. This is the Gone Viral edition, which features the Banana Splits song, which we did on YouTube, has had 1.3 million views.
Wow. Where can they buy the album?
You can get the album from poundshopboys.bandcamp.com. You can download it. You can buy the physical CD. We've got caps available, badges. And we've got a new album out soon called Obviously. Pound Shop Boys, Obviously. And we've just finished recording that, and that'll be out very soon.
Ooh, how did the Pound Shop Boys begin? Because it doesn't seem like an area that you're familiar to.
I'm a big fan of the Pet Shop Boys, and I've always been a big fan of old 80s kids TV themes, and I thought some of them would make great electro 80s sounding pop hits. And I always wanted to do Fireman Sam as the Pet Shop Boys. Even when I was a kid, I thought Fireman Sam would make a great Pet Shop Boys song. And 25 years later, I met John Matthews, who was also in a band called Spray. He used to be in a band called the Cuban Boys, who had a couple of big hits in the 90s. And we got chatting, and we started recording stuff together. And I said this about Fireman Sam, and he said, "Well, we should record it then." So we recorded it just so we could put it on our own iPods or whatever. Yeah. And then we thought we could do something with this. So we just thought, Pound Shop Boys is a funny title. So we dress up as the Pet Shop Boys, call ourselves the Pound Shop Boys, and bring out all this nonsense. And it's done really well. And we're on to this will be now our third album.
Do the albums cost £1 by any chance?
No, they don't. They cost £5.
Oh, that would have made the joke.
It would have been perfect, wouldn't it? But you can't have everything.
No, you have to make money somehow.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, one of the questions that my dad desperately wanted me to ask, which is
he watching this?
He will be watching this. My dad. He's called Steve Mason. He will be watching this.
Hello, Steve. If you're watching.
And he wants to know: is Hacker a border terrier?
Yes, he is. But if you ask Hacker that, he'll say he's a border being asked that question.
Because we have he's probably downstairs, but we have our own border terrier who's 15. Rusty.
Rusty. 15?
Yeah. He's 15, but his favourite hobby is just walking into a room, weeing, and then running out the room.
That's very similar to my favourite hobby. But I'm a little bit older.
Yeah. No, because
Ronnie Drew does that as well, but that's his age.
No, because I asked Ronnie this question. Now, I wondered if you knew any more insight into this. Do you remember an event in 2017 where you were featured on ITV, where you were with Hacker, Dodge, the Queen from Spitting Image, a whole host of other puppet characters?
I do remember that. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, was it?
No, it was in 2017. Wandle Brindle Pike, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, uploaded it as a YouTube video onto his fantastic YouTube channel.
I didn't think it was that long ago.
Well, it was. I was even shocked as well when I had found that it was in 2017. But I thought
it turns out I don't remember it that well. Then I thought it was 2 years ago.
Well, Ronnie said that apparently it went on to him going into Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. Was that similar to you? Did you go from that to filming Dark Crystal? Or
I think we'd already filmed it. We'd already done Dark Crystal. That was after it. That's the wrong way around, that.
He must have got... It must be his age.
It is his age. We definitely did Dark Crystal first, because at that, people were asking for our autographs from Dark Crystal.
Because
I signed up somebody's poster for Age of Resistance, so it's definitely the wrong way around. Because I'd done Sooty first, and Sooty was 2018.
Well, I really liked Dark Crystal, and I've got one of the figures down below in my hand that I'm going to bring up in a second. I've got some hanging in front of this, and it's here you go. There's just another plug.
Agra.
Yeah, I've got the. If we look at the back, it's been sat inside. I've got the whole collection now.
Now, I'll be honest with you, Tom. I've never watched it.
Well, I reckon you should, because I've seen it twice. And really funnily, speaking of CBBC, I don't know if you know this information, but I was watching the behind-the-scenes documentary, and the bizarrest thing happens. They're having a chat just about, we need to do this, and this. And you look in the background, and you see the characters from the CBBC classic, Me and My Monsters, just standing, like the big, what's it called? The big, the
orange one. Yeah.
Well, the red one. Because every time that rerun, I would always watch it, bang on. So you would be there chatting, saying, next is Me and My Monsters. And I'll be there like, really watching it. And on YouTube, I have you can see this because the playlist is public. I have a playlist called Retro, because I love everything retro. I've got a typewriter to that side of me, and I've got a hi-fi to that side of me, around my corner. And
retro, I like it.
Yeah, and all on that playlist, it has everything from anything hacker related, anything Sooty, Sweep, Emu, anything. And Me and My Monsters was one of the best programs ever. Did you ever watch Me and My Monsters?
I did watch it because, well, no, I've never watched it, but I'm aware of it because we did it. We did do some 2-ways with them, and they sent us some VTs for us to play in. Because Don Austin played the big one. What was his name? Haggis or something?
Yeah, Haggis. Yeah, I think it was Haggis.
Well, Donald Austin was inside that costume, and Don worked with me on Hacker Time, and he also played the Ghost of Christmas Present in Muppet Christmas Carol. But he was on Dark Crystal as well.
Yeah. Now with the CBC office, it's a question. Now, back when it was in London before it moved to Media City in Manchester, having the TV, did you ever watch? Because Chris Johnson has said this on his fantastic podcast, another plug, Out of the Broom Cupboard. Highly recommend you listen to it on Apple.
Well, I'm in the first one of that, aren't I?
Yeah. And did you ever actually watch the program that was being broadcast on the little TV in the room, or was that just a prop?
No, it was on there, but there was no sound. So I've not really seen anything on CBBC in the last 12 years with the sound on, other than stuff that I'm in. So I've never seen Tracy Beaker with the sound on. I've never seen anything, because why would I watch them? I'm in my 40s.
Well, I reckon because you've got the sound off, you should have like done voices for them. Like they did a thing a few years ago where they had kids do voices for like CBC shows, and the program they're on mute, and they've just got kids doing voices for them. I reckon you should have done that, and then it wouldn't. I
think you're right. I think we have done that probably before at some point, and as a gag. But you're right. It would be good to redub stuff daft.
Yeah.
I'll suggest it next week.
Now, as you're a puppeteer and a puppet fan, you're one of the, I reckon, one of the most incredible Muppet reconstruction recreators. Where did your love of remaking puppets from the Muppets to Kermit to Fozzie come from?
I think it's just, as a puppet builder, I think being able to make a replica of something is quite a useful skill to have. Because I always try and make them just by eye. So I have no extra knowledge of how they are made than you have or anybody else has. But I'm quite good at looking at something and working out how that thing transpires into a flat, patternable shape. So if you can make a good Kermit, you can make a brilliant original character.
And I think your characters, like, because you're on I'm gonna do another plug here. You're on a lot of puppet Facebook groups.
Yes, I like that. It's nice to get your stuff out there and show people what can be done with very little technology. I don't use any technology. I don't use 3D printing. I don't have a printer. I don't use a scanner. I don't do anything. I just draw things out on foam and cut them out. Yeah. A lot of people get a bit carried away with technology, I think, sometimes, but but missing the raw skill. Yeah. And all that stuff is fine, but you don't need it all. You can make. I've got this Kermit here. Do you want me to show it yet?
Yeah.
I made this a couple of weeks ago. And it is made with stuff that everyone has access to. There's nothing there that you could not just get to make that puppet.
Wow. It's so real. I feel like Kermit's in the room.
Yeah. Well, I am in the room.
Did you perform? I don't know if you did perform, but did you perform Kermit on the last leg, or did you get the original puppet?
No, that was Kermit. No, I never performed the Muppets. I only made them for fun.
Yeah. Now on your Instagram, because you moved it from Facebook to Instagram, but you do a series that I think could be a YouTube global phenomenon if you transferred it to YouTube.
I think you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah. Is Inside the Puppet Workshop, or is it short? Is it short for ITP?
ITPW. Yeah. Not the catchiest name, but I quite like that about it. And it's basically me in my puppet workshop showing people often doing puppet demonstrations, because it's easier than showing them how to make something.
Yeah.
I did do a couple of puppet building ones, but they take a bit too long to film those. I'm a bit lazy.
Yeah.
and I'm always working, so I sort of can't be bothered. But doing the little ones where I'm just showing how to do a voice, I can chuck them together in 5 minutes and then edit them down to a nice 2-minute piece. And Bob's your uncle.
Well, I quite like them because they're handy and they teach people, and you're learning in an interesting way, and you're not being treated by like a child like you would get on like CBeebies learning how to count from 1 to 25.
Edutainment.
Yeah, and that's the new format.
Well, I only do them to make myself laugh. That's why they've always got these stupid endings, or I throw the puppets to the ground, or get angry at them, or whatever.
Yeah,
I only do it for my own amusement. I mean, I don't really mind if nobody ever sees them. I don't give a monkeys.
yeah. I just think it's like now the question that I've always wanted to know, and since I made my own original puppet, and you can find out more about that over on TGM Productions for a deleted scene of this interview. Now, how do you make clothes?
Clothes. Well, you can just. Well, I generally get them made if I can, because they're a pain to make. So his suit was made by somebody else. I just got somebody to do that. Yeah. But I made Josh's suit when I was first started off. His clothes were all made by me. And all the Electric Mayhem from the Muppet replicas that I do, I always make their costumes because they're quite in depth and what have you. Yeah. But the good thing with puppets is it doesn't really matter if the clothes fit them like a glove, because you can pin them on, which you can't do to a person. And puppets generally don't have shoulders, so you can avoid making shoulders, which are a pain to make anyway. Yeah. Just pin them on, or don't bother with clothes because they are a pain.
Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. That now going from your likes of your Kermit and your Elmo to more of
Kermit has no clothes, if you notice. That's because it's easier to do.
Yeah, going from the well-known Jim Henson stuff to more of a lesser well-known, but well-known if you've got Apple TV Plus, you'll be able to watch this. But yes. What's your favourite Fraggle Rock character? Because I noticed you were making one. What's your favourite Fraggle Rock character?
I do like Boober that I was making. And again, it's not just because it's easier, because he's no eyes or clothes, but he's a great, funny character. I'm a big fan of Uncle Travelling Matt, and he will be the one I make next if I do bother making another one.
Yeah.
But he has a full costume and hat and shorts and shoes. So I may just never bother getting around to that.
Yeah. So, did you ever meet Jim Henson in your career, or were you too late in the game?
He died in 1990. I started in 1988 doing this sort of semi-professionally, but so I never met him. But I did work at a Jim Henson exhibition in 1994 when I was 17 or something. Wow. And that was in Warrington when I first started demonstrating. So I had some of my puppets there, and I was demonstrating those for the kids. That was also the first TV thing I did in 94.
Mm. Now with all this fame and all everyone loving everything you produce, what was your inspiration in making your own version of the wonderful little alien friend Alf?
I was just a big fan of it as a kid, and at Christmas I'd had a few drinks at Christmas Eve, and I thought, well, I'll start making Alf. So I just started making him on Christmas Eve about 10 o'clock at night, just for a laugh. There was no inspiration beyond, I'd not made Alf before. And I thought, well, I'll have a crack at that.
Would you ever perform Alf for a quirky video on YouTube or anything?
No, I don't do any replicas.
Yeah. Well, so going from making stuff to original characters from the BBC next, whatever happened, because the fans will be wondering, whatever happened to Harry Tonju?
I couldn't tell you. I presume it's in a bin somewhere, or he's been stood on. We made lots of those, because in every episode of Hacker Time, I think one series, he got crushed in every episode. So I made loads of them.
Yeah.
It was just a polystyrene cup with bits of stuff stuck to it. Make your own. You can make your own, folks.
Is there a pattern anywhere? Because there used to be a pattern online for...
Oh, I don't have no idea.
On the series website, they used to have the make your own Harry Tonju.
You could print it out, couldn't you? Yeah. Is that still on? It may well still be there if you Google it. I couldn't tell you.
Well, if you use the Wayback Machine, which is a website, you can go back to the history of website. You could probably pinch it from there. But they've removed on the all shows bits. They removed like shows and Hacker Time and bits and bobs. So
I didn't know it had been taken off, if I'm honest.
Well,
I'd forgotten about it.
Yeah.
I know you could print out Wilf's van and make a fold-up Wilf Redbin van,
I mean,
which was quite good.
the BBC love folding things.
They love folding things, don't they?
Yeah, they made
Well, I
them-
never had one of those. I quite like one of those, actually, those Wilf Redbin folded-up vans.
They had a fold-up Tracy Beaker where you can fold her to make a little doll. Yeah, they have
I
a
think they
fold-
did a hacker one, you know.
Yeah, they did, and they did a fold-up Tom Baker.
Did they? All right, how odd. I've never got the hacker one. I'd like that, actually, but I don't have it.
Well, if anyone has these folding up things that haven't folded them away, please get in touch with Phil over on social media.
Send it in. I'd like that. I'll put it on my shelf.
Yeah, which we will tell you more about his social medias later on in the interview. Now, one of the things is that Series C, when I was a young whippersnapper, had canon in it. So it had its own mini sitcom, as you will. So how did you explain Dodge moving to CBBS?
I don't think we mentioned it, did we? I don't remember.
No, because I had obviously not seen CBBS properly for a few years, and I came back to it and randomly found Dodge had just disappeared and a robot had appeared, and then the robot just vanished.
The robot vanished, yeah. The robot didn't quite catch on. It never really caught on with the viewers for some reason, and I don't think it was developed enough, so we just dropped that.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling we didn't mention Dodge leaving and going to BB's. I don't remember ever being a storyline. I couldn't tell you. I don't think we mentioned it.
I think you should mention that in the next hacker video that Dodge that we have to explain where Dodge has disappeared to.
Yeah, we might have done it as a video, but it certainly didn't go on telly, I don't think.
No.
I don't remember. When was that? About 4 years ago, maybe?
I think it was, because Dodge has just been... Dodge was going from the incredible psychic to hacker to now just being a child's best friend.
Well, he likes that. I think he's
Yeah.
better off on CBeebies. It's
Yeah.
where he likes to perform. Warwick prefers CBeebies, I think.
Yeah.
He's always wanted to do that.
And
So I think it's better all round, really.
Yeah. And it works better because then you can do more jokes about them meeting each other in the corridor and seeing how each of them been getting on. Because one of my favourite jokes ever on Series C was when they got the scripts mixed up from CBeebies and Series C. So the Series C lads, the CBeebies script, and they were reading off what was next, and it was whatever was on CBeebies.
Did we do that? I don't remember
Yeah.
doing that.
Oh, I don't know if you were around when that happened, but it was I think it was like Chris Johnson had the issue with the script mixed up.
I've no clue. Do you know what? I'll be honest with you, Tom. I don't remember anything.
Well, it's been so many years. I just can't.
When we're in CBBC, the way we work,
Yeah.
we only get given the script when we get in.
Yeah.
And we'll read it a couple of times when we're rehearsing on camera. But I generally read it cold. So I'm often reading it for the first time as it's being filmed.
Mm.
So it's going straight in and straight out.
Wow.
There's nothing much I remember apart from the ad-libs. And I don't remember those either, really.
Now.
I'm only there for the money.
Well, as Roddy said to me in the last interview, he said a lot of TV's only there for money now.
Yeah, well, that's all I'm there for.
Which is
Not
quite
for the good
sad.
of me else.
Yeah, but with the Dark Crystal, which I do want to get onto now, that was filmed that was incredible, because what it is I think the greatest thing about them is not just the TV show itself, but it's the bloopers, because you lot as the puppeteers weren't doing the official voices. You were just like miming along and doing everything you need to do for the likes of Simon Pegg to
Yeah, well, what they did actually on the day, they did do the voices.
Yeah.
So Warwick did do the Chamberlain all the way through it, and he did the voice. And it wasn't just doing his normal voice, knowing it would be dubbed. It was doing the proper performance.
Yeah.
So when it came to dubbing it, Warwick had already set in place the decisions of the way the character's being performed. So it sort of so Simon Pegg and Co couldn't really deviate from the way that Warwick had performed it, because it wouldn't then have read. So the choices were already set by the performers, I think, for the way it was delivered, even though the voices were different. I mean, I didn't do any voices in it. I was just background and assistant. I only did a few days on it. What I did on it isn't worth talking about.
Did you ever see the bloopers? Because I think they're just brilliant.
Yes, I have seen the bloopers, yeah, but I've not seen the actual show.
I just think it's like you watch the bloopers and think, oh, this show's gonna be really good, but then you see the show and it's more serious than.
Yeah, it was serious when we were filming it. I thought, this is not really my puppeteer. There's no jokes in this.
Yeah, and then you watch the bloopers and you think, oh, that's full of them just singing randomly.
Well, they're good performers, you see. When things go wrong, you may have seen on the hacker bloopers, you've
Yeah.
got to carry on. And although with the hacker bloopers, they are always live. So I've no choice. I can't just take the puppet off and stand up. We're on the telly.
Yeah. So, what's your favourite? So, Hacker's done a few compilations. We're going to speak as Hacker is a real person here for a second. Hacker's done a few compilations of these, but out of the ones that you remember, if you remember much, which ones were your favourites?
Well, there's some famous ones that have been used to death. Like the one when that book falls off and lands on my head.
Yeah.
That's been on It'll Be All Right on the Night, that on ITV, they've shown that.
Wow.
On David Williams' It'll Be All Right on the Night. And once a skeleton fell over and landed on me and what have you. Generally, as a puppeteer, you'll find things just fall on you.
Yeah.
Because gravity and puppeteers don't mix well.
Yeah. But the one of my favourites is the trampoline one where you're on you're on a call with a caller and you're like, look, I can bounce up and down. And it's the fact
Get stuck on the camera.
Yeah, but you know, because you're a puppeteer, you have to try and keep Hacker as real as possible, not to break the illusion. So that's even funnier because you can just imagine you're just like really worried now you're going to get Hacker back without being spotted.
Well, actually, that was a different puppet that I threw up.
Yeah.
There's a stunt one that has no arm rods on it.
Yeah.
But I basically bring the other one down, then with that hand, grab the stunt one and throw it up. So the stunt one is now dangling on the camera hood like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I can't bring this one up until that one's down, even though I've got him. Because you can't have two on at the same time. So I'm going, Tony, and the cameraman was called Tony on the day. Tony, get me down, Tony. And Tony's going, what are you talking about? So he can't reach round. So I've got to just fill time until Tony gets this thing out of shot, and then I can bring the other one up.
Yeah.
So it was genuine. He wasn't meant to land on the hood, but it wasn't the same puppet. But it's still the same effect. I couldn't bring the other one up at the same time.
And another one of my favourites was when Hacker was trying to play the bagpipes, and then the bagpipes kept on breaking, and
and I was smashing them up on the desk and making him laugh. That was a good one. Yeah.
Was that
live?
Was that a sound effect, or was that a sound effect error?
It was. I can't remember. No, I think we planned for him to continue to play the sound effects, but I wasn't meant to smash the. And then the thing itself, I think, snapped, didn't it? Something broke, and I was just making a lot of racket by smashing it on the desk.
Yeah,
that wasn't how we were meant to do it, but it was funnier for it, I thought.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Hacker, I've got a little request from yet again my father and myself. Would you be able to get Hacker to say the word happy 50th birthday, Steve?
I'm sure I can. I'll go and get him. Oh, is he? How convenient. I'll just get out of the way. Hello, Cocker. You all right, Tom?
Yeah, I'm all right, Hacker.
Good to see you on this YouTube thing. Here we go. Happy birthday, Steve. 50, eh? You don't look it. He does look it, doesn't he? Yeah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Steve. Happy birthday to you. Whoops. How's that?
Well done. And
that would cost you 50 quid on Cameo, that.
Wow. And just because I'm going to be clipping these shots down, would you be able to, because my birthday's in the 8th of June, would you be able to sing happy birthday to myself, please?
Of course I will. Hello, Tom. It's Hacker the dog here, wishing you a very happy birthday. In fact, I'm going to sing for you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Tom Mason. Happy birthday to you. Whoops. How's that?
Thank you. Now I've had happy birthday from Sweep just randomly and a happy birthday from you.
Well, mine's better because Sweep's stupid. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Well, he's gone again. That was harsh, wasn't it? But he's gone.
Now after that wonderful performance, how do you get it to look so realistic when Hacker just runs off?
I'm just dead good at my job.
Yeah. Now because there'll be a lot of because this channel is family friendly, there'll be a lot of younger viewers watching this.
Well, I won't say his name then.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that because I don't think parents would be too chuffed if they walk past the kids in the living room and just hear
We
it.
don't want that. We don't
No,
want that cocker.
Now, do you have any advice to give young up and coming puppeteers?
Yes. Practice. Get a camera. Wire it up to your phone, or wire it up to a monitor, and just practice. Get content out there. Put stuff on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, or whatever. Just get on with it.
Now, you weren't always.
There's no excuse these days.
You weren't just a puppeteer as well. You were also it was on I think it was either on Yonko's stream or on the Puppeteer podcast, which is if you're fans of UK, US, and puppetry in general, I highly recommend listening to that. Now, you how did you learn and where did it all begin for I'm going to say this in the best way possible, ventriloquism.
I don't do it. I mean, I can do it because I'm a fan of it, but it's only through watching it.
Yeah.
I don't do it.
Did you not have to practice it? Did you not try and do that before puppetry? Did you not think that was easier?
No, it isn't easier. Puppeteering's easier. Being a puppeteer is easier because you don't have to think about that at all. But often when you're singing in the car and a good bit comes on, but you're at traffic lights, you don't want to be singing in the car when people next to you are looking at you like a maniac. So that's the point when you start doing anything you know, so you can get you can carry on singing. It's just so I can sing without looking like an idiot in the car.
Yeah.
I don't use that skill for anything else.
Have you ever used that when you performing your own Orville?
No, well, only on YouTube or Instagram, just for a laugh.
Yeah.
But I'm only messing about. I wouldn't consider myself to be a ventriloquist at all.
Would you ever? Do you ever sometimes just like try and like prank someone when you try to like set up the microphone and do the classic trick where they like pretend the microphone's not working?
Never done it. Never give it a thought. I never set up microphones.
No, well, yeah, because you always have the headsets on when you do like the Wigan lights at Christmas.
When we do the light switch on, yeah, but often those microphones keep packing in anyway, so it's not me doing it. It's just because the
yeah.
I said, oh, he's a good ventriloquist. No, your microphone's knackered. That's the truth of it.
Yeah. Now, as your for my age demographic, one of the most popular puppeteers, I would like to know who was your favorite puppet from your like viewings as you got older, for like because there was puppets on like Big Breakfast and that.
I love it. Yeah, Zig and Zag actually are some of my favourites. They still are, and I'm friends with Nick and Kieran who performed them, and they're lovely lads. And I'm a massive fan of Zig and Zag, and I got to meet them a couple of years ago because we used to show a CBBC cartoon of Zig and Zag.
Yeah.
So Nick and Kieran came over to England from Ireland to come and meet us, and they're big fans of Hacker.
Yeah.
So it was a mutual admiration society that day. I brought all my Zig and Zag stuff in for them to sign.
Yeah. Well, I was about to get on to that. So I don't know if you know this, but you might want to know this now. So on the App Store, you can get the RTE app.
Oh yes, you can watch Zig and Zag on the Den.
Yeah. So the Den, I one of the things that really weird for me because I'm 16 and people say I've got the mind and the soul of an 80-year-old.
You don't want that.
Now, before we did this interview, my mum said I had some grey hair. I'm thinking, I don't want my 80-year-old to be showing.
Get some Sharpie on it.
Yeah. And so I was wondering if you ever saw the Den.
Actually, I've got a DVD of it here.
Ooh, can you still buy the DVD of the Den?
You can probably get it on eBay, I'm guessing. I actually have got the best of the Den here somewhere, and it's signed. But I can't see it off the top of my head.
Because I really do like the Den because really funnily, one of the characters in the Den, Dustin the Turkey, ended
I've
up
got a DVD of him as well here.
well, he represented Ireland in 2008 in Eurovision.
He did. I know he did. Yeah. Hang on. I'm trying to find this DVD. I've got the best of Dustin the Turkey here.
Yeah.
Because actually Dustin sent me this.
Wow. I can't believe turkeys have got your address.
Turkeys have got my address.
Yeah.
I can't find it. As we say the words, Dustin the Turkey, it'll be on. No.
There you go. There it was.
And this is the Den DVD that I couldn't find.
There you go. So, do you know the story about how Dustin made it to Eurovision?
Well, he's been on telly for 20 odd years. He's been around for a long, long time.
Yeah.
But the answer is no, I don't.
Well,
I think you might have told me, but I've forgotten.
I'll tell you the story. It's a very interesting. No, Ireland for a few years kept on winning and winning and winning and winning, and they're running out of money, so they had to get an act on to lose. So they got Dustin the Turkey to perform "Do the Poir." Now it was basically just Dustin just yelling about Terry Rogan's wig.
Was he in a trolley? Wasn't he?
Yeah, it was in a massive trolley, and there was mainly a woman singing more than him.
It's for the best. He's not got the best singing voice, Dustin.
Right.
But Dustin is actually performed by a man called Johnny Morrison, who is Kieran's brother.
Wow.
Zig's brother.
It's a small one. I would because I think it's really interesting to talk to puppeteers. And no reference to the podcast there this time. I love making references. I would love to interview Dodge and Zig and Zag and hopefully Dustin, but sadly, Dodge has never got back to me.
He hasn't got hands. He can't type.
No, but Warwick's only ever got back to me about a monitor on the internet. But
he'll always talk about monitors. You can always start a conversation with Warwick by mentioning a monitor.
Yeah, and so hopefully,
and that's also where it'll end.
Yeah, hopefully, if Warwick's watching this, you might get your hour of fame on the show.
Warwick, if you're watching this, do Tom's interview. It's the only way it'll stop him mithering you.
Well, some people think I'm a stalker.
Zig and Zag, if you're watching this, do Tom's interview, and then he'll leave you alone.
No, what if...
It's the only way you can stop him.
Now to wrap up this glorious interview.
Yes, well, I'll be honest with you, Tom, and I don't mind admitting it. I skipped through it.
Well, there is going to be clips, clips coming soon to TGM Productions, and hopefully one day I'll be able to be on Puppeteer podcast, even though I don't do much puppeteering. I just want to be on a podcast that's got some fame to get me more
followers. It's all about the numbers, Cocker.
Yeah, because my Alex Horn interview's on 5.2k views.
Whose interview's that?
Alex Horn.
Oh, from the telly.
From Taskmaster. Now, I am going to mention this as one of the closing numbers of this this interview is what's your opinion on Hacker featuring in a puppet Taskmaster? Because I mentioned it to Alex and he wrote it down on his telephone.
That means it'll definitely happen. If it happens, I shall do it. If they ask me to do it, I'll do it. Ian's been on it, and Ian mentioned me on it, in fact.
He did. He also mentioned Dick and Dom, who also won't get back to me about doing an interview.
Dick and Dom, if you're watching this, do Tom's interview, then he'll leave you alone. It's as simple as that. It's for your own good. Do it, get it out of the way, and then he'll leave you alone.
So...
Dustin the Turkey, if you're watching this, do Tom's interview, and then he will leave you alone.
So with the whole of the puppet sphere, did you ever want to appear? Did you ever wish you were doing Sweep in the round table of Weakest Link?
Was Sweep on that?
Yeah, such as no, it was Sue. Sorry, I meant Sue.
Oh, yeah, well, only Sue can speak, so the other ones would have been rubbish on it, really.
Yeah, was she? Anne Robinson zipped up Zippy's mouth.
She did. Well, Ronnie obviously was doing Zippy on that.
Yeah.
But Roy Skelton, who did Zippy's voice, was up in a sound booth with Brenda Longman, who does Sue's voice. Ronnie didn't do Zippy's voice back then.
Hmm.
So they're just lip syncing to what Roy's saying in a different
Yeah.
room. If you watch it again, you'll notice they're writing down different answers to what they're saying because they're different people.
Ah, how
So
would I?
Ronnie and the guy playing George were just stuck in that booth, waggling the puppets to sounds that were coming out of somewhere else.
Wow, I'm gonna have to analyze that for another video on this channel.
I'm not implying that it was cheating,
No.
but the woman who does Sue's voice, Brenda, could have been in a different room Googling the answers. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, it was only for charity. The money.
I'm not implying that Sue cheated, but she could have cheated.
Well, if I ever get hold of it, I'll be sure to clip this.
Brenda Longman, if you're watching this, do Tom's interview and then he'll leave you alone.
So, my final question to you is, what is your favourite puppet you've ever performed on the Hacker Time set, not including Hacker?
Will Fredbin is my favourite. I love him. He's a great character. I love the fact that he wheezes and he's an old man and he does that all the time. All right, Hacker, I'll drive the vein. And I used to do a lot of that wheezing to annoy the gallery, and they would always say, do less wheezing. But I'd always do it before the end of a word, so they couldn't clip it out in the edit. So I'll go, all right, Hacker, I'll get you there. And they had to leave loads of it in, and it was annoyed them, and I enjoyed that.
Well, this has been a wonderful. I can't tell you how long this has been going for because I haven't going to look at the recording yet. But it might
Too long.
You can also buy. You can also. I'll probably do a counter for the amount of puppeteers you've done. You can also go and buy from Bandcamp, which is a fantastic website, the Pound Shop Boys album. For how much?
I don't know. Few quid. It's worth it.
Yeah. And you can also, if you want to get unofficial Hacker merch, buy the mug.
A red bubble.
From Redbubble.
Search for it.
Yeah.
Or just Google image a photograph and send it to Vistaprint. Do whatever you want.
Yeah. Because Hacker is one of the, I reckon, right, I'll say this just before we, baboosh. I reckon Hacker should open his own shop in Wigan, where he only sells his meat paste and DVDs of Hacker Time.
Don't think we haven't asked.
Yeah, Hacker branded meat paste. So, Phil, where can people view your content?
If you have any interest in watching any of my nonsense, you can go to Instagram at Phil Fletcher Official. You can catch up with all the latest Pound Shop Boys information at Pound Shop Boys on Instagram. You keep your eye on Hacker the Dog at Hacker Dog on Instagram. If you want to see me do more gonk stuff, go to We Are the Gonks on Instagram. In fact, do whatever you like. It's your life. I'm not telling you what to do. Enjoy yourselves.
So, hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you enjoyed the interview. There'll be more interviews coming very soon from more special people. And I hope you enjoyed this video.
But not Warwick.
Well, fingers crossed Warwick sees this video and goes, I'll do it. Woo! I don't know what that voice was. But hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you all on the deleted scene. Time out. Bye.
Good night.